Prince. I know Anne, and I've met Joyce, at least virtually. And I'm fortunate. Can you guys tell me your names?
Yes, Lane is the person with Parkinson's, Lane Isaacson, and I'm his wife, Edie.
Lane and Edith. Okay, well, nice to meet you virtually.
Yes. Do you want us to turn off our video or?
No, I think it's nice to be able to see you. That's
all right.
Fine. Isn't it a crazy world we're in where how you meet everyone virtually and kind of conduct meetings in a whole different way than what we're used to?
Yes, strange.
I appreciate being asked to come talk today, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about who I am, where I'm from, what PBWELL does, which is the organization or the facility that I'm opening, what our options for exercise and things are right now, and then just some principles about Parkinson's exercise that in general I feel like people should look for when they're looking for an exercise program. And then a little bit about the Parkinson's Foundation Aware and Care Kit. So we're going to talk about kind of all of those things. I do have a PowerPoint that I kind of put together, but I definitely want this to be super relaxed and you could just ask me questions, especially since we're a small group. So I am going to share my screen, and I think hopefully Amber gave me permission to do that, but I'm going to share my screen and show my PowerPoint. So if you need anything, yes, I can share my screen, I think. Yes. Okay, good. And the good news is I can still see you. So you can just holler at me if you need anything or if you have questions about anything. So can you guys see that PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So again, my name's Cheri Prince. I'm a physical therapist by background. I have worked in the Parkinson's community here in Omaha for probably about, gosh, close to 9 or 10 years now. I worked at a skilled nursing facility and kind of developed a inpatient and outpatient Parkinson's exercise program, but also kind of a community-based program. We had a support group and things like that. And about 9 months ago, 10 months ago now, I left there kind of on this journey to start a Parkinson's specific therapy, wellness, and resource center here that will be primarily based in Omaha. Little did I know that COVID was going to happen and we'd end up having a further reach than we were thinking we were going to have, at least initially. So I'm just going to kind of run briefly through kind of what PDWELL is so you know my background, and we'll talk about exercise and all of those things. So again, my whole point or my whole goal in opening PDWELL is to do more to meet the needs of the Parkinson's community. So I really felt like, at least in the Omaha area, and I'm not sure if it's like same in Lincoln, but in Omaha, services are kind of segmented. So there's a lot of different services for Parkinson's at different places, but not really one place where you can kind of come and get several different kinds of Parkinson's specific exercise or Parkinson's specific therapy. So my goal was really to open a place where you could come and get Parkinson's specific therapy as well as Parkinson's specific exercise on a community level basis, as well as have a space to have things like support groups and educational seminars and things like that. So that's kind of the goal for this facility. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. So the question always comes up, where's PDWELL? And that has gotten very complicated under COVID. But so we just have, right now we have a small office space out at what's called Thrive Space, which is a multi-use office space in Waterloo, which is just very western Omaha, basically, West Elkhorn. And we're working on our Medicare process. So in order to have a rehab agency that bills Medicare and insurance for therapies, you have to be certified by Medicare. And so that is a long process. And now it is fully on hold due to COVID. So they're not doing any surveys or anything like that. So right now, the things we can work on, we can't really do the therapy portion as easily as we would like, but we can do wellness. So as far as community exercise, and we'll talk all about what we're offering right now, and education. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. I'm going to kind of just talk to you a little bit about a few things that aren't necessarily on the slide. So kind of my goal in this facility is to kind of have 3 pillars. So exercise, and that would be therapy and community exercise, And then education, so education for patients with Parkinson's, education for caregivers with Parkinson's, kind of a place that even therapists or other professionals that want to know more about how to treat a Parkinson's patient can come and learn, or at least interact with our staff and learn more. And then the third pillar is community. So I feel very strongly that I want all of our programming to develop a sense of community among the Parkinson's population. And I think that's where Parkinson's Nebraska and I are working really closely together to try and develop that sense of community among the Parkinson's population, not just even in our own cities, but kind of across the state, so that we kind of, everyone knows they're not in this alone, that they have resources that they can access. So our plans for PDWELL are to have a lot of different educational topics. Again, a lot of this has been changed in the last couple of months. So instead of talking a lot about what we have planned, I was going to talk today more about what we're doing right now. So that's kind of this next slide. Here, let's see here. Sorry, I'm going to go on here. Goodness, here we go. This is the slide I was looking for. Sorry about that. Okay, so due to COVID-19, we're not doing anything in person, like the whole world is not doing anything in person, right? So we are all online right now. So what we're offering right now is exercise options, including boxing, a Parkinson's boot camp. We have actually 4 boxing options a week. We have a Parkinson's boot camp. We have 4 voicing options a week. We're doing flexibility and yoga. Live It Up, which is a Parkinson's Nebraska sponsored class, and it is a voicing and movement class combined. A combo class, which I would say is a lot of different therapy techniques for Parkinson's all mixed into one class. A strengthening class, dance for PD, and power moves. So we're offering all of those via Zoom. And we're offering a weekly education series on Thursdays, plus different special educational events as they come up. We're also offering a support group twice a week, and a care partner forum or care partner support group once a week, and then PD Connections, which is a young onset group that we're trying to help facilitate. So again, all of these are kind of via Zoom. And kind of the background to this is Parkinson's Nebraska actually was supporting PDWELL. We had applied for a grant through them to be able to provide a specific educational series that I'm going to talk about in a minute called Every Victory Counts via Zoom. And so we were just about ready to kick that off back in March, early March, and then COVID happened. And I was very concerned about the Parkinson's population that was used to going to exercise classes and support groups, and all the gyms being closed, all the facilities that have support groups being closed. I was very concerned about people being isolated. So I reached out to Amber and the board at Parkinson's Nebraska and said, hey, can we use this equipment that you purchased or helped us purchase to use for this Every Victory Counts series that we still want to do, but can we really focus on just getting some online exercise going and online education? And they said yes. And so that's really how we got started down this path of online support for people during this time. And it's taught us a lot in a very short period of time. I think these are going to be things that we're going to be offering even after COVID. And after we can be back in person, I think we're definitely always going to have an online option now, because we found out how much people enjoy being able to exercise every day, even if they have issues like transportation or just can't get out every day, don't have caregivers to come help them. Lots of different reasons that people can't get to an exercise class every day, but now online are able to offer that. So I'm going to go back a slide and just talk about Parkinson's exercise a little bit and what we want to be looking for when we have a Parkinson's exercise class. So let me back up here a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of the goal, and hopefully you guys can see this okay. This is kind of the goal for all of our exercise classes at PDWELL, and I say that both just to let you know where we're coming from, but also like if you're in a different community, what kinds of things you should be looking for in Parkinson's exercise. So there's a lot of different Parkinson's programs specific, which are awesome. So all of the ones that I mentioned, Rocksteady Boxing for Parkinson's, Delay the Disease, Dance for PD. There's a lot of different Parkinson's specific classes, which are awesome. Some communities, however, may not have a certified instructor in one of those types of courses. So these would be things that if you found another class, you could certainly be looking for. So the goal of Parkinson's exercise is really to promote brain change. And that's neuroplasticity, that big word that's on that slide, is really just the idea that your brain can change to kind of circumvent the error messages that it's getting because of Parkinson's. So Parkinson's kind of really screws up the way you feel like your body is moving. So when you're taking a step and you feel like it's a normal size, the brain in Parkinson's, because of the lack of dopamine, automatically thinks it's a normal size, but it's actually a much smaller size. And so by working in certain ways with exercise, we can kind of change the way your brain thinks about how you move. And so the things we really want to look for in Parkinson's exercise classes are high physical effort. So even and that doesn't really just mean like high cardio or high heart rate, although those are really important, but we want high physical effort. So kind of working a little harder than what you think you can. So there's a lot of research out in the Parkinson's world about Parkinson's exercise. And what they found is that when people with Parkinson's work harder than they would self-select to do. So if you were going to go get on a bike and bike at a certain pace, if you're actually forced to work just a little harder than that, you actually see better outcomes from the exercise. So there was a study actually at it's called the Cleveland Clinic, and it was done with a tandem bike, and they took a group of people and had them exercise X number of times a week for X number of minutes. And then they took another group and they exercised that many times a week for that many minutes, but they put them, the first group was on just a stationary bike, and those folks were just told to exercise at their comfortable pace. And the other group was put on a tandem bike where somebody else was setting their pace, and they were setting their pace higher than what they would have chosen themselves. And the group that was kind of forced, they call forced exercise, actually had better improvement. So when they were forced to work at a higher intensity than what they felt comfortable with, they actually had better improvement. So that's the kind of physical effort we're looking for. We want a high intensity class. Attentional focus means that whatever class you're doing, it kind of forces you to pay attention to how you're moving. So you want your instructors to be telling you to really pay attention to the movements that you're doing and how, even like I always tell my classes, like I want you to stretch your arm all the way down to the tips of your fingers. So really focusing on how your body's moving helps you be more aware of how you're moving, which then translates over into better movement when you're not in your exercise class, if that makes sense. Cognitive engagement means we do better. Parkinson's folks see better improvement when they have to use their brains at the same time that they use their body. So what that means is we want you to have to think while you exercise. So not that there's anything wrong with just going out and taking a walk. That's really good. But you'd actually see better improvement as far as your Parkinson's symptoms if you're kind of forced to use your brain in a cognitive way while you're exercising. So we do that in a lot of different ways. Some classes like boxing inherently are just like that because most people don't know how to box already. So you have to use your brain to remember what the punches are and what sequences you're going to do. Sometimes in some classes, we have to kind of put that cognition part in by asking questions or having you name things, or we're counting sequences while you're exercising, which kind of engages your brain. And then we also, the fourth component we want of a Parkinson's exercise program is called emotional engagement. So we want you to get rewarded and have you doing some sort of exercise that you feel happy doing. So for some people, that's a certain type of exercise. For some people, it means you need to change the type of exercise that you're doing. For some people, your emotional engagement comes from being involved in a group that you enjoy. So all of your, the other people that attend are emotionally satisfying to you, and that you have friendships there. So you can check in with your friends when you go to exercise. So some of that's that emotional engagement. So those are kind of the things that we're looking at when it comes to Parkinson's exercise. We also want a Parkinson's exercise class that's going to work on a couple important things. So we know that with Parkinson's, our bodies get kind of forward flexed. So we want to work on things that work on extension. So we want to have a class that has a lot of extension. We call it anti-gravity extension. So working against the force of gravity flexing you, working on extension. We also want a class that has a lot of weight shifting, because we know in Parkinson's disease, we tend to not shift our weight as well. So shifting from one side to the other. So we want a class that has a lot of weight shifting. We want a class that has a lot of, we call it, a fancy word for spinal mobility, so axial mobility. Sometimes in Parkinson's disease, our bodies get very stuck in one plane, right? So we don't move our arms when we walk, we don't move our bodies, we kind of just stay real stiff. And so we want a lot of exercise that promotes us doing a lot of rotation and moving, because those are the things that help us with our balance. When we have a lot of balance, being able to move outside of that straight ahead plane helps us catch our balance and recover without a fall. And then the last thing we want to work on is just really transition. We call them transitional steps. So things that help us if we have problems with freezing or small stepping. So transitional movements, exercises that help us be able to take big steps and turn and get in and out of a car, all of those transitional movements that we need to work on. So those are the things that when you're going to a Parkinson's class, you want to be able to see that are incorporated. So all of the classes that we do at PDWELL do fit those criteria. Those are kind of our criteria. So boxing, we are a certified Rocksteady Boxing affiliate. So we do 4 classes of boxing a week. So if you have boxing in your area. Now, Joyce, I feel like you told me you do a boxing class. Oh, you're muted. Sorry. There you go.
Am I unmuted?
Now you're unmuted. You got it.
Okay. Rocksteady Boxing is in Air Park in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Rich did it for a while. It's really, people love it. And unfortunately, he had to have some back surgery, so he hasn't resumed. But it's a lot of people have said wonderful things about Rocksteady.
Yeah. So boxing can be very enjoyable, and the symptoms of Parkinson's that we want to work on in a weird way kind of mirror what boxers train for. So boxers have to have really good agility, and we tend to lose our agility in Parkinson's disease. So training like a boxer helps with that. Boxers really train for fast movements, right? And people with Parkinson's have slow movements. So it's a good way to train to kind of increase the speed of your movements. Boxers need to have really good hand-eye coordination, and hand-eye coordination is something that's affected by Parkinson's. So again, another way that boxing can help. A lot of footwork and movement of your feet with boxing, again, something that people with Parkinson's need to work on. So there's just these great mirrors of the things that you train for when you're boxing and the things that people with Parkinson's need to work on. The other thing is hitting a punching bag. So first of all, Rocksteady Boxing and boxing within Parkinson's is non-contact, so you don't hit each other, so don't worry about that. Don't hit each other. But you do hit punching bags, and there is something very empowering about that. So there is a true empowerment fun. It really hits that emotional engagement category of exercise. So boxing is a lot of fun. Parkinson's Boot Camp is just kind of a Parkinson-specific movement strengthening class. Voicing, I think that's something that's not offered enough a lot of places, and is actually really fairly easy to do over a Zoom format. So working on voice volume, voice strength, voice exercises, and also cognition. So working on conversational speech that helps with our cognition, working on more in-depth speech. So our voicing classes, we work just on exercises, but then we work on applying exercises to simple things we say. And then we also, our speech therapist really tries to prompt people to have to make more complex sentences and more complex thoughts and kind of work on cognition while they're doing it. Flexibility in yoga, I think definitely with the Parkinson's rigidity that happens, it's very important that you work on flexibility when you have Parkinson's. Live It Up is, like I said, is that combination class of movement and voice, which is great to work on together. And then any of you guys that are familiar with therapy techniques for Parkinson's, such as LSVT and power moves, we've kind of combined those all in that combo class. And then dance for PD. Dance for PD is kind of similar to boxing in that most people are not dancers. Most people aren't. And so it is really a novel, it's an exercise technique that you have to constantly be thinking about because you're not used to moving in that way. And so it really needs that cognitive engagement piece that we want in Parkinson's exercise. And then power moves. And power moves is a specific therapy technique as well that is Parkinson's specific movement. So I was going to tell you that if you have any interest, like right now, like I said, we're all online. If you have any interest, you can Zoom from your home. PDWELL.com is our website. And you can go on there and find out how to register for classes. We offer, we do have a cost. We do offer a free voicing class, a free education class, and support groups for free. But then our other exercise, our other live exercise sessions, there is a cost per month, but I feel like it's really reasonable. It's $35 a month, and you can have 16 live sessions a week. So you can really, if you decide to attend all of those or a lot of those, it can be less than $1 a session. So it's really reasonable, I think. And if finances are an issue, I've told everybody, you just still join us. We're not going to worry about the finances, but if you can pay and help us, cover some of the costs, then that's awesome too. Okay, so that's kind of our program at PDWELL.com right now. It's hard to do a presentation when you're in the middle of COVID because you want to talk about what it's going to be like normally, but yet you want to talk about what you have going on right now. So it's kind of complex, but I would say probably the best way to stay updated on what we have going on online or in person would be to join our mailing list, which I do not overkill on updates. I usually send one once a month that just says this is kind of what's going on, or if there's a real special event, I might send an extra email or something like that, but you're not going to get flooded with emails from me. But if you want to stay up to date, you can either continue to check out the website or just send me a little email that says you want to join the mailing list. So our website also does have a contact page. So all you have to do is on PDWELL.com up at the top, hit contact, and that will send me an email directly. So you don't have to worry about remembering my email or anything like that if you don't want to. Okay, so let's see here. Therapy, the only thing I wanted to say about therapy is when we get open and fully, there will be therapy services, PT, OT, and speech that are Parkinson specific. So the therapists that work for us are trained in LSVT big and loud. Speak Out, which is a cognition and voicing program that's done by a speech therapist. Parkinson's Wellness Recovery. Our therapists are all dual task trained, which is another treatment for Parkinson's. And then we do have Parkinson's Foundation Allied Team Training, which is just another advanced training in the development of Parkinson's programming. We obviously are not open in person yet with our certification. However, we can, CMS or the Medicare system has approved for us to do some tele services and in some situations home therapy. So if you have questions about that, you can certainly reach out and I can answer those questions. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about Every Victory Counts. So Every Victory Counts is the workshop series that Parkinson's Nebraska had originally supported us doing tele. We are in the middle of that. So we kind of got all our online programming going for exercise and thing. And then when COVID kind of continued, we were like, well, we still want to start our Every Victory Counts as soon as possible. So this is a workshop series, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this this book, but this is from Davis Spinney Foundation. It's a huge workbook, and that is a workshop series that actually in the fall, when we first opened PDWELL, we offered in person. And I love the programming. I love the content of this book. The book is offered free from the Davis Spinney Foundation, so it's a great resource. But I realize that a lot of people don't come, they can't commit to coming to a facility a couple of times a week for a workshop series. So that's why I wanted to do a tele, and we are in the middle of that right now. And actually, Anne, who's on with us, or what's on with us? Yes. Anne, are you still there? Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Anne's doing the series right now. So which is awesome. So hopefully, Anne, you are finding it helpful. Would you say that you are?
Oh, yes, it's very helpful. It's very helpful.
Good. Oh, go ahead, Joyce.
I think I'm off mute. If you didn't start it at the beginning, is it all right to just jump in the middle?
It is okay to jump in the middle because, and this is why, because we're going to be offering it on an ongoing basis. So this first group of 10 that we're doing tele, we kind of just kept as 10 because we wanted to see how it would work. But as soon as we get done with this series, then yes, we're going to start it on an ongoing basis. And then yes, you could jump in anytime because the topics never change. So let's just say you jumped in on week 4. Then I would just say you would continue all the way through the series and then keep going back through 1, 2, 3 the next time until you caught up to where you joined, if that makes sense. You don't have to go necessarily about the topics in order. So yeah, so if you're interested in it, and that's what I was gonna say, if you guys are interested in it, please reach out to me and let me know, and I'll get you on the list, because as soon as we're done with this 10-person project that we're doing, we're gonna start it on an ongoing basis.
Because I just got my book recently.
Oh, good. Oh, nice.
So now I would really like to use it.
Yes, yes. So definitely, Joyce, shoot me an email. I'm going to put you on the list. I'll just make myself a note now that I'll reach out to you when we have the start date for the next one, because it's going to be soon, as soon as we kind of get done with this one. We might make some tweaks, but it's basically a 12-session workshop series that goes through this book. For a long time in my history with Parkinson's community, I had recommended that people get this book. But then what I found is that a lot of people didn't use it because it's so big and it seems overwhelming, and you're like, oh my gosh, how can I process all of this information? What do I need? What's important? What's not important? And so this workshop series is really just about trying to, not that everything in the book isn't good, because it is, but it does help us kind of process some of the information. And we talk about each topic. And I have a slide here, I believe. Yes, these are the topics that we covered. Actively participating in your Parkinson's care, Parkinson's symptoms, Parkinson's mind-body connection, medical and surgical therapies, assembling your wellness team, exercise and nutrition, navigating your Parkinson's with your care partner, advocating for yourself and actively taking charge of your care, and then reflecting on moments of victory. So really, Davis Finney Foundation is very focused on living well with Parkinson's, and that's really what the book is about. So I'd highly recommend it. There's really good worksheets in there and things that you can kind of apply to your life. So yes, if you have any interest in that, definitely let me know. I also think it's honestly a series that's worth taking more than once, because there is so much information in it that you can learn. Because we're doing this as kind of a tele project, we asked a couple of the people that actually did the series with us live to join us via tele, so that we could kind of get information from them, like, what was your experience? How is it different in person versus tele? But my point in mentioning them is that they were like, man, the second time I've gone through it, I've learned this and this that I didn't even catch the first time I went through. So there's definitely a lot of things in there that are really good pieces of information. So this is what we do at each class. We go through, there's a lesson kind of each time. We do a warm-up exercise. So kind of for PDWELL, it's really important for me that we kind of work the whole body. So every time we come to class, I feel like our brains work better when our bodies work, just like our bodies. When we move our bodies, we want to move our brains. If we're going to use our brains, we want to move our bodies. So especially in Parkinson's. So we always do a warm-up exercise. We always do a voice exercise. You always get a take-home exercise for the week, and then a mindfulness tip too. So that's kind of what we do. So that's the Every Victory Counts program. And I anticipate that there'll be, once we open up live in person, there'll be more series like that we offer. And I mean, the very silver lining for COVID for me has been that, I guess in my mind, I always pictured that all of our educational offerings would just be in person. But the great thing is now that we are on Zoom is, all of our educational offerings are going to be offered via Zoom. And so I think people all over the state, my goal would be that people would be able to access those things. So that's kind of, that series, along with other ones, will be things that we'll be doing at PDWELL. kind of the last thing that they had asked me to talk about today is, so Aware and Care, Parkinson's Foundation has a kit. Does anybody have this kit?
Yes.
You do, Joyce, yay, and Ann does, I know. Parkinson's Foundation approached me probably about, not quite a year ago, about being something called an Aware and Care Ambassador, which really just means I'm a volunteer, they don't pay me or anything, but the idea is that I would help get the word out and provide education about this kit. So I am doing quarterly education through PDWELL about the Aware and Care Kit. The idea of the Aware and Care Kit is it's well, I shouldn't just say hospitalization. It's an inpatient kit. It's a kit for people with Parkinson's that help you have any inpatient stay be more successful. There's a lot of really kind of staggering statistics out there about what happens when a person with Parkinson's goes to the hospital. A lot of changes to their medications happen, delay in the delivery of their medications. Sometimes their medications are stopped, and all of those things can cause a very significant negative effect on the person with Parkinson's. There's also but there's several medications that are frequently used in hospital settings that are not good for people with Parkinson's. And so it's about, the Aware and Care Kit is about being prepared. It's not saying, I know I'm going to have a hospitalization, although you can use it when you have a planned hospitalization too, but it's about kind of being ready in case something happens. And so what's in the kit is, first of all, it's a bag. It's free from the Parkinson's Foundation. So you can either go on to parkinson.org and get one, or you can also reach out to me because I'm an ambassador. I keep a stock of them so I can always get one to you. But it is a bag, so it's kind of like a fanny pack. But the idea would be that there's enough room in there for all of the materials that you need, plus a supply of your medication, so that if you travel or if you're going anywhere, you can just pick up the kit and out the door you go, and you know you have everything in there related to your Parkinson's medication that you need. There is something in here called a hospital action plan. I don't know if you can see that very well, but a hospital action plan. And it really talks about how to be prepared for a hospital stay and how important it is that you are prepared. There's a lot of things in here, and that's why we do the educational training, because the educational training is an hour long, and I go in detail into how to use the kit and why you need a kit. But it does have a medication form in there that you can put all your medications on there. There's a place in there to put who your neurologist is or movement disorder specialist, depending on what you have, so that somebody from the hospital can contact them and tell them that you're there. There's these great fact sheets for nurses, which I love. I don't know if you can see that very well. Fact sheet for nurses. It's actually a pad. There's like 50 that come on here. And the idea is that every time a new nurse walks into your room, you give them one and you say, here, these are the facts you need to know about Parkinson's, right? You need to give me my meds on time. These are the medications I can't have. I want you to contact my doctor. And so all of this stuff is provided for free, and it's really, I feel like it's really important that everybody with Parkinson's have one of these. So I'm working with Nebraska Medicine right now they're helping hand them out. The key about them is this is just like the Every Victory Counts book. My history in the Parkinson's world running a support group is that I would tell everybody, get the Every Victory Counts book, get the Aware and Care Kit, and they did. They got them, and then they didn't have them ready. They didn't do anything with them because they didn't know what to do with them. So that's where these education pieces have come in. So I'm offering a quarterly education that we just go for a whole hour. We just go step by step through the Aware and Care Kit. I tell you the purpose of every piece of it. You can even fill it out at the time. When we did, the first one we did was back before COVID. So we did it in person, and we all just sat down and everybody just filled out everything in their kits, and we walked around and made sure everybody had their kit totally ready when they left. Now we kind of have to do it via Zoom. So at least my next one, which is actually this coming Thursday, will be via Zoom, and you can just come to it. There's no charge to it. It's just an hour. To get the Zoom link, you just go on PDWELL.com and register for it. You just have to put your name and email in it, and then you get emailed the Zoom link. And like I said, I'm hoping our next one can be a combination of in-person and Zoom, but right now we're doing everything Zoom just for safety. So does anybody have questions? Yeah, go ahead, Joyce.
I don't have a question, but I have a testimony of that bag, in that fortunately we haven't had to use it, but I got it when I first heard about it a couple years ago. and it was in some drawer, cabinet somewhere. And I kept saying to Rich, I said, you know, we really should get this bag ready, you know, in case. Well, it wasn't until COVID that prompted us. Now it's on the shelf by our door as we exit. But it's like we had a friend whose wife had Parkinson's and fell and broke a bone, ended up in the hospital. He couldn't go in with her.
Mhm.
And all that kind of stuff. So he wasn't able to stand there and say, she needs her medication on time. And if she doesn't get her medication on time, I'm going to give it to her. And, you know, all those things that you go over, I'm sure, in your thing. So it was when I heard his story that the 2-year-old bag came out of the cabinet, and we prepared it a little more in order to have it right there if we need to go to the hospital.
Ready to go. Yes, that's awesome. I totally agree. I've had actually several people in the last few months that have said, you know, I knew there were medications that my husband couldn't have, but when I went to the hospital, I couldn't remember what they were, but I looked in my bag and the list is on there, and there was one that they were trying to give him. And I said, he can't have that, and this is why. And it really saved a lot of complications. So there's lots of stories out there about how you can be better prepared. And when we do the education, we go into specifics about some of the statistics about what happens when people with Parkinson's get hospitalized if they don't advocate for themselves. And it's not out of, you know, I don't want to talk bad about any hospitals or doctors. It's not out of like a bad, this is a horrible word, a badness. It's not them being bad doctors. It's just there's not enough awareness out there about what a person with Parkinson's needs.
Well, the staffing versus the number of patients is a big deal as far as getting medications on time and things like that. And if you don't really understand how critical it is for them to get it on time, then they just get it when they get it. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They just get it when they get it.
It's just, you know.
It's just the reality of how it works when you're in a facility of any sort. And I always say too, not only if I hate to call it just a hospitalization kit, really if you need to go to like inpatient rehab or any place where you're inpatient and somebody else is delivering your medications and you're not necessarily under, because if you think about how many times you go to the hospital, you're typically a lot of times not under the care of your physician that knows you, right? So another doctor that doesn't necessarily know you is now making decisions and writing orders about your care. And if you're there for like your hip or your knee, like you broke a bone, they may not even contact your neurologist unless you tell them to or ask them to. So then a doctor that doesn't know anything about your Parkinson's is making decisions for your meds, and that can be very dangerous. So that's what that whole program's about. I'm excited that I'm involved in it. I enjoy hearing that people are getting their kits ready. So if you know of anybody that doesn't have a kit, I'd highly encourage you to put them in contact with me. I can either get them a kit or at least tell them how they can order it. And then, like I said, I'm doing these quarterly educations, so I can, you know, connect with them. And I actually am willing to do the education anytime. In fact, Nebraska Medicine just emailed me this week and said, this person's having surgery next week. Can you call them and make sure their kit's ready? Absolutely, yes, we can do that. So we don't have to wait for the quarterly education, but that the quarterly education is available. So, okay, I'm trying to think if I have anything else. This is just my website, so pdwell.com. And again, you know, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to stop sharing this for a second, and I'm going to share my website. Let's see if I can find a way to do this. Just so you kind of know what to expect when you go on it. So you kind of are oriented to it. So this is the PDWELL.com website, and this is that contact button I was telling you about. If you want to reach me but don't remember anything about me, my name or anything, you can go to PDWELL.com and right under this contact. If you hit send a message, that emails right to me. And then this is the calendar page that shows all the programming that we're doing right now. So here's June. This is kind of our little legend here. So PDWELL Plus is that membership that I was talking about that costs about $35, or it costs $35 a month for unlimited. You can come to all the sessions that you want to. These green ones are things that we do that you don't necessarily need the membership for. So we do that educational series, the Care Partner Forum, and the Loud Crowd or the voicing class. But so like the wear and tear, right here, if you wanted to do that, you could just click on it. And all you have to do is go to the, right down here is the Zoom link that you need. So all you have to do is copy and paste that into your browser and you're able to attend that one because it's one of the free ones. Now, if you go to a class, let's just say next week you want to try boxing. You can click, let's see, Monday is the 15th. So you can try boxing, click on boxing. And if you go, you just click that you would want to do this membership. And again, I mean, I'm so open to anybody just trying our classes for free. You don't have to get the membership. How the payment works anyway is that after you register, if you like it, I send you an email that says this is how you pay. You don't have to pay online or anything right now. It's all just kind of on the honor system. We understand everybody's going through a lot of craziness with COVID and everybody's situation is changing. So, or, you know, is unknown right now. So you may want to try classes for a few days and that's okay. Just register. All you have to do is click on here that you're going, that you want to go. You put in your name and email and then hit submit. And the link is actually emailed to you. And then when it's emailed to you, all you do is click on it. It'll take you right into the Zoom link. You don't have to enter anything. Okay. So that's kind of how that works. Okay. Well, I've done probably more talking than what you'd like or what we need to. So does anybody have any questions for me?
So, Cheri, your office is in Waterloo.
Uh-huh.
This is where your live classes were?
Yeah, so we were doing live things here before all of this, and we haven't really made a decision. I mean, we know we're all online in June. I'm right now trying to kind of figure out for July if we're going to do anything live, but I don't think we are. I'm really trying to go by what the movement disorder physicians are recommending for people with Parkinson's. I certainly don't want to encourage people to come out before people feel like it's safe. So I kind of right now think that we'll be online only still in July. And then hopefully maybe August we'd be able to do some things in person and online. But I think our online will be continuing to be offering. I think this COVID situation has made us realize that you know, there's a place for Zoom for everybody. You know, there's some people exercising with us right now that previously weren't able to get out and go anywhere, and now they're able to exercise. So we don't want to take that away from them when COVID is over and we're back live. We want to continue that. So we'll be continuing that, but I just don't have a date yet that we might be doing live again.
Okay. I think it's great.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? And then we can wrap it up. Or thank you all so much for tuning in. We've also been kind of trying to manage the whole switch to online and what does that look like? How do we get the word out? But everybody here in Nebraska, you guys are eager to learn. I can see how many times our videos have been viewed, even if you don't tune in live. So I know that this information is being spread. So I know I say it a lot, but there is a silver lining to everything going on with COVID. And just the fact that you guys are here with us today is one of those big silver linings. So thank you for tuning in and letting us keep doing this virtually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of interesting information.
Yeah. Looking forward to a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. All right. Thank you, guys.
Hope
Thank
everyone
you.
has a great
Bye.
afternoon.
Bye, you too.
Bye. Okay.